The plane door hadn't even closed yet, and already he was screaming at her. First class, soul-bound. Every passenger had their phone out, because the man yelling at a pregnant woman to get out of his seat? That was Junho Kang, the most feared name in Korea's underworld. And the woman in the seat? She turned around, slowly. I saw the video 3 hours later, the way his face went white, the way his hand dropped, the way he whispered one word, her name. What had he done to her a year ago that made her run to another continent? I got the tip at 11 p.m. Petra, you need to see this. My source sent me a shaky video, filmed on someone's phone. A man in a black suit, expensive watch, cold eyes, Junho Kang. Everyone in Seoul knows that face. You don't get that rich, that powerful, that untouchable without blood on your hands. He's standing in the aisle of a first-class cabin, pointing at a woman sitting in seat 1A. "You're in my seat," he says, voice like ice. The woman doesn't move. I said, "Get out." And then she turns. I rewatched that moment 15 times, because the look on his face, that's not anger, that's shock, that's fear. The woman is stunning. African features, natural hair pulled back, and very, very pregnant. Her belly is enormous. She looks like she's about to give birth any second. "Hello, Junho," she says. Calm, steady. The cabin goes silent. Someone whispers, "Is that his?" The video cuts off. I started digging immediately. Within 2 hours, I had her name. Adana Okafor, Nigerian Kenyan, former international development consultant. Last known residence, Nairobi. No social media for over a year, no public records. She vanished. And now she's back. On Junho Kang's flight. In his seat. Pregnant. I called every contact I had. Airport security, flight attendants, passengers on that plane. One of them finally talked. She didn't just sit in his seat by accident, they told me. She booked it deliberately. She knew he'd be on that flight. She wanted him to see her. I asked the question everyone was thinking. Is it his baby? The source laughed. Babies? Plural? I heard her talking to the flight attendant. She's pregnant with quadruplets. 4 babies. I felt my hands go cold. Junho Kang has no known children, no wife, no public relationships. His family built an empire on secrets, violence, and control. A man like that doesn't just have a pregnant ex show up out of nowhere, unless she's been hiding, unless she ran. I kept digging. Flight manifests, passenger lists, security footage, and that's when I found it. Footage from Seoul Incheon Airport. Timestamp, 2 hours after the flight landed. Junho Kang, walking through the terminal. Not alone. Next to him, Adana. She's not being escorted. She's not being dragged. She's walking beside him, chin up, hand on her belly. And behind them, 4 men in black suits. His security, his family's enforcers. The footage shows them disappearing into a private exit. No paparazzi, no public record. She vanished again. But this time, I knew where to look. Because what I found in that airport's restricted footage, it wasn't a reunion. It was a warning. I wasn't supposed to see that footage, but I have friends in low places, and one of them owed me a favor. "You've got 10 minutes, they said. After that, this gets deleted." I sat in a back office at Incheon Airport watching security monitors. The timestamp read 9:47 p.m., 2 hours after Junho's flight landed. There he is, Junho Kang, walking through a restricted hallway, Adana beside him, her hand on her belly. She looks exhausted, terrified. But she's not running. I leaned closer to the screen. Behind them, Junho's men, 4 of them, arms crossed, faces blank. They stop at a door, private lounge, VIP access only. Junho opens it. Adana walks in. The door closes. I waited. 15 minutes later, the door opens again. But this time, Adana isn't alone. There's a woman with her. Older, elegant, expensive coat. I zoomed in on her face. My stomach dropped. That's Junho's mother, Madam Kang, the real power behind the family, the woman who decides who lives, who dies, who gets erased. She's talking to Adana. I can't hear the words, but I can read the body language. Madam Kang's hand is on Adana's shoulder. Not gentle. Firm. Controlling. Adana's face is stone. And then Madame Kang does something I didn't expect. She smiles. Not a kind smile. A calculated one. She gestures to one of the men. He hands her a folder. She opens it. Shows Adana something inside. Adana's hand flies to her mouth. She shakes her head. Says something. Madame Kang nods. Then she leans in close. Whispers something in Adana's ear. Adana's eyes go wide. She looks at Junho. He's standing in the corner, arms crossed, watching. He doesn't move, doesn't speak. Adana turns back to Madame Kang, and then, slowly, she nods. The footage cuts out. I sat back in my chair, heart pounding. What was in that folder? What did Madame Kang say to her? And why did Adana agree? I needed to find her. I needed to hear her side of the story. So I did what I do best. I followed the money. Bank transfers, property records, flight logs. 3 days later, I found her. She wasn't in Seoul. She was in a private villa, 2 hours outside the city, owned by a shell company. Registered to the Kang family. She was being hidden. I booked a car, drove through the mountains, arrived at the villa at dawn. The gates were locked, security cameras everywhere. I walked up to the intercom. "I'm here to see Adana Okafor," I said. Silence. Then a voice. Female, tired. "Who are you?" "My name is Petra Santos. I'm a journalist. I know what happened on the plane. I know about the babies. And I know you're in danger." More silence. Then the gate buzzed open. And when I walked into that villa, what she told me made me realize this wasn't just about a pregnancy. This was about a war. She opened the door herself. No security, no guards, just Adana. Alone, pregnant, exhausted. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "Neither should you," I replied. She let me in. The villa was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the mountains, expensive furniture, a prison with a view. We sat in the living room. I pulled out my recorder. "Can I record this?" I asked. She hesitated, then nodded. "Tell me everything," I said. She took a breath. "I met Junho 2 years ago, in Nairobi. I was working on a development project, clean water infrastructure. He was there on business, or so he said." "What was he really doing?" "I didn't know then. I found out later. Money laundering, using charity projects as fronts." I felt sick. "He was charming," she continued. "Intelligent. He didn't tell me who his family was. Not at first. We started seeing each other. It was intense, fast. And then I got pregnant. With quadruplets." She nodded. "I didn't know it was 4 babies until the ultrasound. I was terrified. But I thought, maybe this could work. Maybe we could build something." "What happened?" Her eyes darkened. I told him, and he disappeared. Blocked my number. Vanished. I tried to find him. I flew to Seoul. But his family, they found me first. Madame Kang. Yes. She told me to leave. She said if I ever tried to contact Junho again, if I ever claimed the babies were his, they would make sure I regretted it. She offered me money. A lot of it. To disappear. Did you take it? No. I went back to Nairobi. I was going to raise them alone, but then she stopped. Her hand went to her belly. Then what? I started getting threats, messages, photos of my apartment, my office. Someone was watching me, and then my bank accounts were frozen. My visa applications were denied. I couldn't work, couldn't leave. I realized they were trapping me. I felt my pulse quicken. So you came back. I had no choice. If I stayed in Africa, I'd be powerless. At least here, I could fight. I could demand recognition, demand support for my children. And the plane? She smiled, bitter, cold. I knew he'd be on that flight. I have friends who still talk to me. I booked his seat. I wanted him to see me, to see what he did, to see what he couldn't run from. And it worked. It worked too well. Now his mother wants to control the narrative. She offered me a deal. I leaned forward. What kind of deal? Stay in this villa. Have the babies here. Let them be raised as Kangs. In exchange, I get money, security, protection. And if you refuse, her eyes met mine. She didn't say. But I know what this family does to problems. I felt a chill. So why are you talking to me? Because I'm tired of being afraid, and because I want people to know the truth. If something happens to me, if I disappear again, I want the world to know who's responsible. I stopped the recording. Adana, you're in danger. Real danger. I know. Then why stay? She placed both hands on her belly. Because these are my children, and I won't let them be raised by people who threatened their mother. I'll fight, even if it costs me everything. I left the villa an hour later. My hands were shaking, because I knew what was coming. And 3 days later, when I got the call that Junho's enemies found out about Adana, I knew this story was about to explode. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about Adana, alone in that villa, pregnant with 4 babies, trapped between a crime family and whatever else was coming. Because something was coming. I could feel it. At 6 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Petra Santos? A man's voice, Korean accent, cold. Who is this? Someone who knows you've been asking questions about Junho Kang. My blood went cold. I'm a journalist. It's my job to ask questions. Then let me answer one for you. Stop. Stop now, or you'll regret it. The line went dead. I stared at my phone. My hands were shaking. This wasn't my first threat. I've been doing this work for 8 years. I've exposed politicians, corporate criminals, human traffickers. Threats come with the territory. But this felt different. This felt personal. I called my editor. I need protection, I said. What happened? I'm investigating the Kang family, and they know. Silence on the other end. Petra, maybe you should pull back. These people... I'm not pulling back, but I need security. And I need this story published, now, before they bury it. My editor sighed. I'll see what I can do. I hung up and immediately checked my sources. 3 messages waiting. The first one made my stomach drop. Petra, be careful. Word on the street is that Junho's rivals found out about the woman. They're planning something. The second message was worse. The Lee family knows about Adana. They're going to use her against the Kangs. The Lee family, another crime organization. Rivals of the Kangs for decades. Control over ports, smuggling routes, political connections. If they knew about Adana, if they knew about the babies, they'd use her as leverage. The third message was from my contact at the villa. She's gone. Adana left 2 hours ago. No one knows where. I grabbed my keys and ran. I drove back to the villa. The gates were open. Security cameras smashed. I ran inside. Empty. Furniture overturned. Papers scattered. A broken glass on the floor. And then I saw it. Blood. Just a few drops. On the white marble floor. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it would explode. I called Adana's phone, straight to voicemail. I called my police contacts. Nothing. I called everyone I knew. And then 6 hours later, I got a message. From Adana. I'm safe. Don't look for me. Trust me. I stared at the message. Safe? Where? With who? I tried calling back. Blocked. I sat in my car outside the villa, trying to think. And that's when I saw them. 3 black SUVs, pulling up to the villa. I ducked down in my seat. Men got out. Expensive suits. Cold faces. Not Kang family. I recognized one of them from my research. Lee family enforcers. They walked into the villa, searched it, came out empty-handed. One of them made a phone call. I couldn't hear the words, but I could read his body language. Frustrated. Angry. They got back in the SUVs and left. I waited 10 minutes. Then I went back inside the villa. I searched every room, looking for clues, anything that would tell me where Adana went. In the bedroom, I found something. A piece of paper. Hidden under the mattress. A handwritten note. If you're reading this, it means I'm gone. I couldn't stay. They were coming for me, both families. I have one chance to survive this. One person who can protect me, but I can't tell you who. Not yet. Find the hospital, find the records. You'll understand. A. Find the hospital? I pulled out my laptop and started searching. Hospital records, private clinics, maternity wards, and then I found it. A private medical facility. Outside Seoul. owned by a company I didn't recognize. I dug deeper. The company was registered to a third party, a neutral party. Someone who wasn't Kang, wasn't Lee. Someone with enough power to stand between two crime families. I found a name. Dr. Yoon Min-seo, Korea's most elite obstetrician. Treats celebrities, politicians, the ultra-wealthy. And according to records I accessed through a contact at the health ministry, Adana Okafor was admitted to Dr. Yoon's private facility 3 hours ago. I drove there immediately. The facility was hidden. Unmarked building, high walls, private security. I walked up to the gate. I'm here to see a patient, Adana Okafor. The guard looked at me. No visitors. I'm a journalist. She'll want to see me. No visitors. I pulled out my phone, showed him the message Adana sent me. She told me to find her. I found her. Let me in. The guard hesitated, made a call. 5 minutes later, the gate opened.
안녕, 여러분. Before you continue, if this story touched something in you, you should know I didn't tell everything yet. The complete version has 20 full audio episodes. No interruptions, no ads. Just the story, the emotions, and the moments I couldn't fit in here. You scan the QR code on your screen, or tap the link in the pinned comment to continue listening right now.
A nurse escorted me inside. The facility was beautiful, more like a luxury hotel than a hospital. Soft lighting, elegant furniture, complete privacy. The nurse led me to a private suite on the 3rd floor. She knocked, waited. The door opened. Adana stood there. She looked exhausted but unharmed. You found me, she said. You told me to. She smiled, tired, sad. Come in. I walked into the suite. It was enormous. Private bedroom, living area, medical equipment, and sitting in the living area. My jaw dropped. Jun-ho Kang. He stood up when I entered. His face was unreadable. Miss Santos? He said quietly. I looked between them. Adana, Jun-ho. What is this? I asked. Adana sat down slowly, her hand on her belly. This is survival, she said. 2 days ago, the Lee family sent men to the villa. They wanted to kidnap me, use me and the babies as leverage against the Kangs. Jun-ho's people intercepted them, barely. I looked at Jun-ho. You saved her? He didn't answer. Adana continued. His mother wanted to move me to a Kang facility, lock me down, control everything, but Jun-ho refused. He brought me here, neutral territory. Dr. Yoon doesn't work for any family. She answers to no one. Here, I'm safe. The babies are safe. And what does he want in return? I asked, looking at Jun-ho. He finally spoke. I want my children to survive. That's all. I studied his face. Cold, controlled, but something else underneath. Guilt, fear, regret. You abandoned her, I said. You let your mother threaten her, and now you want to play hero? His jaw tightened. I made mistakes. I'm trying to fix them. Adana cut in. Petra, I didn't ask you here to referee. I asked you here because I need you to tell this story. The truth. Before his family or the Lees twisted into something else. What truth? She took a breath. The truth that these babies are Jun-ho's. The truth that I'm not a mistress or a gold digger or a threat. I'm a mother trying to protect her children from a world I never asked to be part of. And the truth that if anything happens to me, the world will know who's responsible. I looked at Jun-ho. And you're okay with this? He nodded slowly. My family built power on secrets. Maybe it's time for the truth. I pulled out my recorder. Then let's start. And what Jun-ho told me in that room, about his family, about the real reason he disappeared, about the war that was coming, made me realize this story was bigger than anyone knew. The interview lasted 3 hours. Jun-ho talked. Adana filled in the gaps. I recorded everything. He told me things I never expected to hear from a man like him. About his childhood, raised to be ruthless, trained to take over the family business, taught that love was weakness. About meeting Adana in Nairobi, how she was the first person who saw him as human. Not as a Kang, not as a weapon, about the pregnancy. How his mother found out before he could process it himself. How she threatened Adana. How she gave him an ultimatum, the family or the woman. I chose wrong, he said quietly. I chose the family. I let her go. I convinced myself it was for her safety, that she'd be better off without me. And now? I asked. Now I know I was a coward. I hid behind my family's power instead of protecting the woman He stopped, looked at Adana. She didn't look away. The woman you what? I pressed. The woman I love, he finished. The room went silent. Adana's eyes filled with tears. You never said that before. I should have. I watched them. The most feared mafia boss in Korea, and the woman carrying his children, in a moment that felt impossibly fragile. So what happens now? I asked. Junho stood up, walked to the window. Now I do what I should have done a year ago. I claim them, publicly, the children, and Adana. I claim them as mine. Your mother will never allow it. My mother doesn't control me anymore. The Lee family will come after you, after all of you. Let them come. I looked at Adana. And you? Are you okay with this? With being part of his world? She was quiet for a long moment. I didn't choose this world, but I chose these babies. And if their father is finally willing to stand up, to protect us, then yes, I'm okay with it. I stopped the recording. This goes public tomorrow, I said. Once it's out, there's no taking it back. Junho nodded. I understand. I left the facility that night with the story of a lifetime. I worked through the night. Writing, editing, fact-checking. My editor called me at 4 a.m. Petra, are you sure about this? The Kang family, they'll come after us, after you. I'm sure. This story needs to be told. Okay, we publish at noon. I didn't sleep. At 11:55 a.m., I hit refresh on our website. The story went live. Mafia heirs secret. Junho Kang admits fathering quadruplets with African consultant he abandoned. The headline was everywhere within minutes. Social media exploded. Korean news networks picked it up immediately. International outlets followed. Within 2 hours, it was trending worldwide. The reactions were instant and brutal. Some people called Adana a victim. Others called her a gold digger. Some praised Junho for finally stepping up. Others said it was too late. Feminists debated whether Adana should have anything to do with him. Crime experts analyzed what this meant for the Kang family's power structure. And then the Kang family responded. A press release. Cold. Clinical. The Kang family does not comment on personal matters. We expect privacy during this time. But I knew better. I had sources inside the family. And they told me Madam Kang was furious. She called an emergency family meeting, demanded Junho renounce the children, threatened to remove him as heir. He refused. For the first time in his life, he said no to her. And that's when everything changed. 2 days after my story published, Junho held a press conference. I was there, front row. He walked out alone. No family, no lawyers, just him. The room was packed, cameras everywhere. He stood at the podium, looked directly into the cameras. My name is Junho Kang, and I'm here to tell the truth. The room went silent. A year ago, I met a woman named Adana Okafor. I fell in love with her. She became pregnant with my children, and I abandoned her. I let my family's expectations and my own fear control me. I hurt someone who deserved better, someone who deserved everything. Cameras flashed like lightning. Today, I'm here to say, I claim those children as mine. I claim Adana as the mother of my children, and I will protect them with everything I have. My family may not approve. The world may judge me, but I will not hide anymore. Someone shouted a question. What about your mother? What about the family business? Junho's face hardened. I'm still a Kang, but I'm also a father, and that comes first. Another question. What about the Lee family? They've reportedly threatened Miss Okafor. Anyone who threatens her or my children will answer to me personally. The press conference lasted 20 minutes. When it was over, Junho walked off the stage without taking more questions. The internet lost its mind. The story dominated headlines for a week. And then, exactly 9 days after my first story published, Adana went into labor. And what happened in that delivery room, what the doctors found, what Junho did, what his mother tried to do when she showed up, would become the final chapter in this impossible story. I got the call at 3 a.m. She's in labor, Dr. Yoon's facility. Junho wants you there. I grabbed my things and drove through the empty Seoul streets at dangerous speeds. When I arrived, the facility was surrounded. Kang family security on one side, Lee family observers keeping distance on the other. Media vans parked across the street, even though they couldn't get close. I showed my press credentials. The guards recognized me, let me through. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Dr. Yoon was coordinating her medical team. Quadruplets meant high risk. Premature delivery was likely. Every precaution was being taken. A nurse led me to a private waiting area. Jun-ho was there, pacing, his suit jacket discarded, sleeves rolled up, face pale. "She's been in labor for 4 hours," he said when he saw me. "They're saying another hour, maybe 2. How is she?" "Strong, stronger than anyone I've ever known." I sat down, pulled out my notebook. "Why did you want me here?" He stopped pacing, looked at me. "Because whatever happens tonight, whether this ends well or ends badly, I want someone to witness it. Someone who'll tell the truth." Before I could respond, Dr. Yoon appeared. "Mr. Kang, it's time." His face went white. Can I be there? She's asking for you?" He looked at me one more time, then followed Dr. Yoon down the hallway. I waited. Time moved differently. Every minute felt like an hour. And then I heard it. A baby crying. Then another. And another. And another. 4 distinct cries. I felt tears on my face, and I wasn't even the one giving birth. 20 minutes later, Dr. Yoon came out. 4 healthy babies, 3 girls, 1 boy. Mother is stable. Exhausted but stable. I stood up. "Can I see them?" "Give them 30 minutes. Then you can come back." I walked outside, called my editor. 4 healthy babies. All survived. Mother and children are okay. "My God. Petra, this is incredible. We need to publish immediately." "Not yet. There's more to this story." I went back inside. And that's when I saw her. Madam Kang, walking through the front entrance like she owned the place. Security tried to stop her. She walked past them like they didn't exist. She headed straight for the delivery wing. I followed. She reached Adana's room. The guards outside blocked her. "My son is in there," she said coldly. "Move." "Madam Kang, Dr. Yoon has restricted—" I said, "Move." The door opened from the inside. Jun-ho stood there. Mother and son faced each other. "You're not coming in," he said quietly. "Those are my grandchildren. Those are my children. And you threatened their mother. You tried to erase them."
If you made it to the end, you already understand this isn't just another story. What you watched here is only a fragment. The full experience lives in 20 complete audio episodes, carefully told, with every detail, every emotion, every turning point. There are no ads, no interruptions, and nothing was removed like it is on YouTube. You can listen anytime on your phone with total privacy, inside the members-only area. Scan the QR code on your screen now, or tap the link in the pinned comment.
"You don't get to walk in here and pretend you care." Madam Kang's face was ice. "Everything I did was to protect this family, to protect you. You protected your legacy, not me, never me. Jun-ho, if you do this, if you publicly claim these children with this woman, you will tear this family apart." Good. Maybe it needs to be torn apart. I watched from down the hallway, recording every word on my phone. Madam Kang's voice dropped to a whisper. I barely caught it. "Your father would be ashamed." Jun-ho's face changed. Something broke behind his eyes. "My father was a monster. He built this empire on blood and fear, and you taught me to be just like him. But I'm done. I'm choosing differently. You'll regret this." "Maybe, but at least I'll be able to look my children in the eye." Madam Kang stared at him for a long moment. Then she turned and walked away. I exhaled. I didn't realize I'd been holding my breath. Jun-ho saw me standing there. "You got all that?" he asked. I nodded. "Good. Publish it." He went back into the room. I published the story the next morning. Madam Kang confronts son at hospital. You'll tear this family apart. The public reaction was massive. Some people praised Jun-ho for standing up to his mother. Others said he was destroying a family legacy. But the majority? They were focused on the babies. 4 children. Born into one of Korea's most powerful families. Children of 2 worlds, Korean and African, crime and innocence. The world wanted to know, What would happen to them? 3 weeks later, I got an exclusive invitation. Adana and Junho wanted to do one final interview. I met them at a private residence. Not a Kang property, not a safe house. A home. They'd bought it together. A place where they could raise the children away from the violence and power games. Adana looked different. Tired, but content. The babies were sleeping in a nursery upstairs. "We wanted you to see this," she said. "The ending." "Is it an ending?" I asked. "Or a beginning?" Junho spoke. "Both. I'm stepping back from active family operations. I'm not leaving entirely. I can't. The family won't allow it. But I'm creating distance, building something separate." "What about your mother?" "The Lee family?" "My mother and I have an understanding now. She doesn't approve, but she's accepted it. The Lee family, they're watching, waiting. But for now, there's peace." I looked at Adana. "And you? Was this worth it?" She thought for a moment. "I didn't choose this path. I didn't want to be part of this world. But I chose to fight. I chose to protect my children. And now they have a father who's willing to fight for them too. So yes, it was worth it." I finished the interview. Published the final piece. The world moved on to the next scandal, the next story. But I couldn't forget. I couldn't forget the woman who stood in seat 1A and refused to move. The man who finally chose love over legacy. And the 4 babies who changed everything. 6 months later, I received a message from an unknown number. "Petra, it's Adana. We need to talk. Something's happening. Something with the babies. Something impossible. Meet me." I stared at the message. The babies were 6 months old now. What could possibly be happening? Was this finally the peace they deserved? Or was someone about to shatter it all over again? And what did she mean by something impossible? What could 4 innocent children have done to restart a war?